What's going on, everybody? Furo here, back with a brand new episode of Umineko When They Cry. Last time on, we shot back to Natsuhi as she's trying to figure out how to hide, the fact of Kinzo's death from the rest of the family, while she talks to, the personifications of her worries, and Gap, Wonov, and Beatrice, obviously. Then we cut to Erica, well, I guess Rika in the case, whatever, Erica and Bador, who are trying to solve the Epitaph's riddle, in which case they do, in which Erica refers to herself as a nice intellectual, therapist. A good meaning type of person that just wants to, do the best for everyone's sake, intelligently, and, as a just good old-fashioned therapist. She's just misread it, that's it, that's all, whatever. But as they're trying to find where the gold is, Bador sees Kinzo, quote-unquote, or perhaps a visage of him in which Kinzo points the right direction to Bador, in which they finally found the gold. And for that case, I'm going to go for, it could be either one of two things. Either it was someone dressed up as Kinzo, for some reason, in order to guide Bador to the gold, but that's really more unlikely since the culprit doesn't really care about the Epitaph's riddle, but perhaps they did it for the sake of Bador, who knows, or maybe it's Bador's theory of that it's just an interpretation of Peace Bador trying to, finally be accepted by Kinzo or whatever. So, they go ahead and find the gold, and the rest of the family is awarded by this. And they finally, they decide, oh, now that Bador's the true head, now we could get to this guy who gets to have the gold and whatever. And so Bador is forced to go into the true family conference, in which a whole bunch of shenanigans is probably going to happen. Meanwhile, in the meta world, we have this conversation between Meta Bador and Virgilia, in which Bador tries to figure out what is the point of the epitaph, and we learn quite a few things in Red Truth. One is that Beatrice has nothing to gain from the epitaph being solved or not solved, so there goes the motive of money from that perspective. Two, the aim of murders isn't to causing fear or for revenge specifically. And three, what was the last one? Not for pleasure, not for revenge, and not for causing fear. Was there a third one, or am I just misremembering? Actually, let me just check the logs real quick. Let's see here. Something does exist. Here we go. Committed for the sake of pleasure? Okay, I really like that the red text is spirit have revenge on someone either. Not the culprit. Blah, blah, blah. I don't think. Okay, I think that was only the two things. Okay, good. I really like these logs. It's actually very helpful. So it isn't for the sake of, revenge or fear, and the culprit doesn't care about the money. And thankfully, one of you guys explained to me, or really cleared this up, to separate Meta Beatrice and culprit Beatrice from each other, since they're kind of one and the same in a kind of way, but still different, since Burncastle explained that Beatrice is pretty much the personification of what the culprit could be, from the perspective of the human side, or the human explanation theory. So obviously, I'm going to work with that, so thank you for the clarification for that. So I try to think. I try to think, what is the motive of the culprit, then? If it's not for money, if it's not for revenge, nor is it for pleasure of just the murders themselves, yet the culprit sets up these complex murders, Remember back to episode 2, the first Twilight. They killed 6 people at a dining table and stuffed their stomachs full of candy. Episode 3, they created a locked room circle, right? And from that, a whole bunch of other locked room mysteries as well, for that reason. And why did they also send the letters beforehand, before, the murders are committed? Wouldn't that, just gain suspicion for the culprit? Wouldn't that make it harder for them? And so I've come up with a proposition, or a theory, a reasoning, because this level reasoning is possible for Voidlego. Fuck you, Eric. I'm stealing your thing. What I think is truly happening, and why they're specifically going after Bador, is that the culprit wants a game. They want to play a game with specifically Bador. Why that is, and I don't know. Perhaps it has something to do with the sin of 6 years ago, or maybe because Bador has been out of the range of the Ushio for about 6 years, and he's pretty much the biggest outsider to the family. So therefore, his judgment wouldn't be clouded by money or other things like that, or honor or dignity of the Ushio family. The culprit wants to play a game with Bador. That's what they want. That would explain why they would create these complex walkthrough mysteries. Is not for the sake of pleasure, not for the sake of creating fear. It's for the sake to gain interest of the family. They want the family to solve them. The reason why they sent the letter beforehand, before any of the murders are committed, is so they can plant that seed of the family using their brains to solve something. Yes, in the letter they say, solve the epitaph riddle, but that's not the true goal of the letter. The true goal of that letter is, by sending that out first, beforehand, they're pretty much gaining suspicion that something's off about this family conference. They want the family, or maybe more specifically Bador, or really anybody, to solve these murders that they're about to commit. That's why they set them up in such convoluted ways. I feel like that's the only explanation, thinking from chessboard thinking. Why would you send a letter? Why would you create these complex murders if it's not for the sake of fear, it's not for the sake of revenge, it's not for the sake of pleasure even? The only explanation I can think of is that the culprit wants to have a game. They want to play a game. A game of murder mystery in a weird sort of way. They want someone to solve these murders that they've created themselves. That's how they that's how they get pleasure. That's how they do it. They don't care about human lives. They just care about games, and that's been, silhouetted throughout this entire game. Kinzo versus Beatrice, a game. Nanjo versus Kinzo, chess, yet another game. The entire reason of the Epitaph's Riddle, yet another mind-boggling game. It's all a goddamn game, I think that's what the culprit's true goal is. And the reason why they send money to the relatives is as sort of collateral damage, as a way of saying sorry that, I had to involve your family in my game of this. I feel like that's what it is. That's why they sent so much money to them. Because if they cared about money, they wouldn't send it to the relatives. They would just keep it for themselves. So I think that's what it is. This culprit wants to play a game with specifically Bador, I feel like. Because the culprit always leaves Bador alive at the end of every game. There's also some other things I noticed, such as at the end of every episode, let's just start from the first episode. First episode, after Natsuhi goes out and is murdered by, quote-unquote, the culprit, right? George, Maria, Jessica, and Bador go into the main hall, then we cut away, right? In episode 2, same thing kind of happens, where Genji comes to Bador, says, come to the study, I'll explain everything. Once Bador goes in there, we have the whole magical scene, which is, totally fake and whatever. Then we have episode 3, which is the odd man of the group, where, Bador is just murdered by Ava, right? Then we have episode 4, which is Bador left all alone in the mansion, and so we never know what happens to him. What I think happens at the end of each of these episodes, except for episode 3, is that the culprit comes face to face with Bador, and they explain everything. They explain the game, they explain the murders, they set it all out for Bador to see, to learn. That sort of thing. And we don't know what happens to Badwar. We truly don't, because there's no body of Badwar. Sure, yes, the character death screen says, like, oh, Badwar's dragged to hell or whatever, but I don't think that's true. Because we never do see the body of Badwar once. Throughout this entire game, we've never seen this body once. We have no idea what happens to Badwar after all of this, after the episode ends. We don't know. So I think that's what happens, is that the culprit weighs it all out for him, and either kills him, or Badwar goes somewhere else. Don't know where he goes, but he goes somewhere else. And, yeah. Because, beforehand, before I started recording, I was thinking, why does the culprit want Badwar specifically? And for a while, I thought, they wanted Badwar to realize some type of truth, whatever that truth is, that required them to start murdering the rest of the family. But I thought, no, it can't be just that. So I think this is what it is. I think this culprit wants to play a game with Badwar by setting up these murders and let Badwar try and solve them. So, can't wait for a million comments to say, oh, actually, fuck you, Void, your reasoning's wrong. And, you know what? Yeah, go right ahead. Because, it's a lot of fun. It really is a lot of fun. But, I think that's the only point of view that I can accept that would make sense for this culprit. The letters, the complicated murders, everything. They just want to play a game with Badwar. Why that is, who that person is, and what it has to do with the sin of 6 years ago, I don't know at all. But let's get to some, helpful comments. There was a couple of comments remarking on the whole Erica's therapist line, which was pretty funny. It's just, it's such a, it's a funny line, but at the exact same time, that title is so suitable for Erika Furuto that it perfectly explains her character in, 2 words. Truly does. She is a rapist of, intelligence, because she doesn't care who she has to go through in order to gain knowledge. It truly explains, and it probably also what makes me hate her so much. Because she doesn't care about anyone else's feelings. All she cares about is her own self-pleasure, like a rapist, It's just, the perfect title for somebody of that caliber, obviously. There was some other great comments. There was a nice comment describing, Natsuhi's, point of perspective of why she's doing all this for the sake of her family, but she's still aiding crime, but, in the end, Natsuhi's still human, like everybody else in this, family. They're all human. They're not good, they're not bad, they're gray. They're not even gray. Human. Simple as that. Which just goes to show Ryokushi 07's, capable writing skills, to create such human characters and all that. Actually, let me check the comments, because I do, because there was a lot of good comments last episode. That's right, there was 2 comments specifically. One is the quote that Badwar used during the meta thing, which sounded quite familiar to me, in which, yes, it should be very familiar to me, because it was used in Higurashi Chapter 2. God damn it, Ryokushi 07, you son of a bitch. How dare you reference that? God. God, looking back on that part is now so much funnier. Of yeah, of course you've heard it before, Void. You fucking played through it, like a year ago. Actually, 2 years ago. Dude, we're actually getting on to, we're getting close to the anniversary of me starting this Let's Play. Right off the trails of Higurashi. God, I've been playing this fucking series for so long. Ugh, God. But anyway, this other comment I want to comment on is, the fact that everyone's interpretations of Kinzo is what we've been seeing this entire game. We've never actually met the real Kinzo. All we've seen is merely the interpretations of the people around Kinzo. Be it Genji, be it Nanjo, be it, Natsuhi, be it Klaus as well. All we've seen of Kinzo is nothing. Of Kinzo, the actual man, we've seen nothing of him. Which makes Kinzo such a unique character. In which case, we don't really know who he was. All we have is merely his actions and how the people around him view him, And can you really trust the, interpretations of the people around a certain somebody in order to know them? Not really, no, because they could have biased views on him. Like, was he a crazed, person obsessed with occultism? Or maybe that was just the family just overplaying it, playing it up for, the sake of, family matters or whatever, make it like a family joke that, oh, Kinzo's always locked up in his room, whatever, ha 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 ha. Or maybe occultism was just merely a hobby of Kinzo's. Maybe he wasn't that obsessed with Beatrice, like the rest of the family makes it out to be. And you could also say, like, oh, but Void, what about that flashback we saw of, like, Ava and Klaus? Well, yeah, that could be an example of us actually seeing Kinzo, but I think what makes that scene so much more interesting is that we're viewing it from the perspective of Ava's memories. You can't exactly trust your own memories to be correct 100% of the time, Sure, in that scene, we saw that Kinzo was, kind of abusive, like a bit, abusive to Klaus in that scene. But that could have merely be skewed by the memory of Ava, and of Klaus. Maybe Kinzo wasn't as abusive, maybe he was. We don't know. We actually do not know what type of person Kinzo was, which makes him one of the most fascinating characters I've ever come across. It's because we don't know anything about him. Hell, a kind of comparison I can make here with Kinzo is ancient historical figures. Like, for example, Alexander the Great. Do we really know how Alexander the Great was? No, we don't. Sure, we have records of his achievements, of his actions, and possibly what he said. Maybe. But we truly don't know who Alexander the Great was. Same thing with Kinzo here. All we have is interpretations of the people around him, which just makes him so much more fascinating. It really does make Kinzo one of the most fascinating characters just ever I've ever seen. It's so unique, so creative, so mysterious, Like, who was Kinzo? And I don't think we're ever going to know. I really don't think we're going to know who the real Kinzo was. I feel like Ryokushi 07 is just going to leave that, as it's up to our own interpretation of who Kinzo was. Was he a brainless maniac who cared only about witches? Or maybe he was just a smart businessman who took advantage of, certain things during, after World War II. Maybe it truly is that, Just makes it so much more fascinating. This game's so fucking fascinating. And also, I want to just say this. I want to thank you guys for all the great comments. I really do. I really love reading through them and how it, both, sometimes it, clears away some of my theories, but it also, helps me. It really does help me of you guys being like, no, actually, Void, this happened instead. It actually does help me to appreciate even more about this game, From the theory side, from the characters side, there are just so many different facets of this game that you can explore. And I love that you guys are expressing that to me via the comments. So I want to say thank you so much for the comments, and just thank you so much for the support on this series. It makes it so much more fun, really. I would have a lot of fun just by myself doing this, even if there was like one viewer or whatever. I would have just so much fun just trying to dive through this goddamn complex book by myself. But with you guys, it just makes it so much more special. So truly, thank you for the comments. Thank you for the support. Thank you for everything. Enough talking. Let's actually get into the fucking episode. Bador did nothing but gaze blankly out the window. The fighting between the relatives went on without end. At first, the relatives had crowded around the study. However, no matter how much they knocked, the master of the study did not answer even once. Ava and several others said they should open the door with the second key, the one Genji held. However, in a flash of brilliance, Natsuhi said that Kinzo had been in a partially bad mood and had taken back the key previously given Genji, which meant that he now had both keys himself. She claimed that this was the reason they couldn't open the door. After she promised to let them meet Kinzo tomorrow morning no matter what, they returned to the dining hall. But of course, their argument continued on even there. Poor Bador. Ava's group needed a lot of cash very soon, and they were trying to friend cross him out and make him pay up. I have to say, I was thinking about the horror aspect of this game. Higarashi's was... The horror aspect of Higurashi, which actually, I got reminded of this because I was watching a Super Eye Patch Wolf about social anxiety horror, which I feel like Higurashi did play a lot into that. The horror of Higurashi was, I think the main horror of it, besides, the body mutilation, murders, besides that, the more psychological angle to it, is the fact of, not knowing who your friends are. Well, Umineko's horror takes on the fact of, do you know what your family truly is? That's what the scary part is, because do you truly know who your family is? Do you truly know who how your aunt acts, or how your uncle acts, or any other family members? Do you truly know how they act in desperate situations? A lot of times it's no, because you have no idea. You've never been in a situation like that. Umineko provides that horror of not knowing what your family's capable of, which is a very unique type of horror. It's a lot more psychological, which I fucking love psychological horror. I just find it a very interesting horror, because Umineko, is it yeah, I think it's a bit horror. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of horror to it. I mean, it's a murder mystery, whatever, but I just found it to be a cool kind of parallel to Higurashi. One's about friends, one's about family. Ava's group needed a lot of cash very soon. Oh, there we go. Apparently, Bador solving the epitaph when Kraus's position as a successor, which gave the others a powerful tailwind. On the other side, Kraus and Natsuhi based their argument on the claim that it had never been specified that ownership of the gold would be handed over to the person who solved the epitaph. Also, another thing I want to point out while I was thinking over the goal of the culprit is at the end of every episode, the two constants is that 1, Bador always survives till the end, and 2, there's always a mother. Episode 1, Natsuhi. Episode 2, Woza. Episode 3, Ava, obviously. In Episode 4, the last person Bador talks to is Kyrie, aka his own stepmom. So I find that a very interesting constant. Maybe it's something they'll bring up, maybe it's something they'll never bring out, but I still find it a very interesting pattern that this game goes on about. It hadn't been hidden gold, but simply Kinzo's stockpile. It was still Kinzo's property, which meant it would naturally be distributed after Kinzo's death with the rest of the inheritance. Once they made that claim, Ava's group once again started demanding to be allowed to see Kinzo. It had probably been obvious to them from the beginning. This sibling fight could only be settled by Kinzo. This was obviously a confrontation between Ava's group, which wanted cash fast, and Kraus, who was hiding his lack of funds but still didn't need money right away. As he listened vaguely to this exchange, Bador marveled at how, despite their usual affluent airs, they were surprisingly deep in debt.
それもさっき聞いた話ではないかね。もういい、休止しよう。お互い一度した話を延々と繰り返しているだけだ。
According to the clock, it was almost 2400. It certainly was a perfect time for a break. The atmosphere relaxed just a bit.
同感や。お互い一服するのも悪くないで。ほな以後は議事を取りながらにせんか。言った言わないはもうごめんや。
Write down notes, fellas.
まったくだわ。下の根も乾かないうちにそんなことは言ってないなんて。平気で言い出す兄さんとの会議に議事録は必須だものね。
文字じゃ書くのも手間だし、インチキだっていくらでもできるわ。
I don't know, who's got a recorder?
そうだね。兄貴、こいつは動くのか。オーディオセットかね。
Audio set.
なるほど。それならば議事を手書きせずに済むし、捏造もできるね。互いにとって公平だ。
勝手にいじらないように。当主様の大切な音楽テープですよ。
The dignified tape set had a sense of weight to it that matched this majestic dining hall perfectly. On pleasant Sunday mornings, it would sometimes be used to play famous tapes out of records. However, right now it was the most neutral, impartial conference record keeper around. We would all fish randomly around the cassette rack, searching for a blank tape. And every time he found some tape with sophisticated music on it, he complained about how pompous it was. What, that was some AC/DC.
失礼します。お呼びでしょうか。
休憩することになったの。申し訳ないんだけど、何か飲み物を用意してもらえないかしら。ビスケットみたいなものがあってもいいかもね。
かしこまりました。すぐにご用意いたします。
Oh boy.
あと、ごめんなさい。風邪薬あるかしら。さっきから熱っぽくて。
Feverish, huh?
なら無理は良くないな。休みたまえ。
ローザがいいと思うなら好きに休めば。私ならこの大事な会議中に風邪くらいじゃ休まないけどね。
I'm just thinking back. Has Rosa always slept during like the first part of an episode? I remember in episode 3 she did. Episode 2 I can't quite remember. Maybe in episode 1. Yeah,
そうかね。
it's interesting.
私は遠慮なく休ませてもらうよ。夏日、私たちも少し休まないかね。
はい、あなた。
Sensing that he meant to have a strategy meeting, Natsuhi stood up. Even if that hadn't been the case, she was so desperate to get out of the room even for a moment that she had taken any excuse. Cross and Natsuhi left the dining hall, and the tension in the room truly relaxed.
バトラ君もお疲れ様。最悪の気分でしょ。
Yeah, I'm just sitting here watching my family kill each other.
大人の階段だと思って諦めて。
俺はいつまでここでボサーっとしてりゃいいんすかね。
さあ、バトラ君は私たちのおみこしだからね。眠い？
古典の授業程度には。
今夜はどうせお父さんは現れないでしょう。クラウス兄さんたちが戻ってきたら、バトラ君はもう戻っていいかと提案してみるわ。
よろしく頼むぜ。
A light knock and the faint sound of china clinking together could be heard.
失礼します。お茶をお持ちいたしました。
Shannon and Cannon had come by with a serving cart. The pleasant smell of black tea had the effect of relieving a bit of the tension.
よ、話は聞いてるか？
何のお話でしょうか。
僕たちは何も。よしなさいルドルフ。教える必要は何もないわ。
僕たちは家具親族会議のお話には関心ありません。
そうね、それが賢い返事だわ。
深夜勤なの？大変ね。
そういうお役目ですので、ご用命いただけて嬉しいです。
そうかもしれんな。
Great, now I'm trying to remember back to the the opening of this episode. The people that were killed were George, Jessica. Was it Hideyoshi who was also killed? Yeah, Hideyoshi was also killed. And was it Nanju who was also killed? I feel like, well, it was, first, so that'd be 6 people. Damn, I can't remember.
することもなくぼんやり起きてる方がしんどいもんや。わしも下積み時代に倉庫番とかやったことはあるんやけどな。ただ起きてるだけでもこれがとにかく辛いんや。戦争直後はな、物資泥棒とかゾロゾロってな、警察も頼れん時代でとにかく物騒でな。
Hideyoshi was partially proud of how he started with nothing and built up assets by illegally diverting goods from the American army. Once the subject came up, Hideyoshi tended to get pretty talkative. The relatives who knew this were greatly relieved to see that a perfect sacrifice had come up.
バレたら一大事や。アメさんは怖いで。
American Andy people? Is that really a real term that Japanese people use for Americans?
牛肉食っとるからパワーも桁違いや。捕まったら最後銃殺刑かデスバイハンギングや。
Death by hanging.
わかるか？デスバイハンギング。いや、それでな、わしは思うたんや。肉や、肉や。日本人はもっと肉を食わなあかん。
What, did you steal a bunch of canned meat? And was there a rumor around that it was actually human meat? And you gave it to fucking Himizawa?
そしてわしは胃袋をつかむ商売を始めなあかんという典型を受けたんや。
それは大変なお仕事ですね。
よしなさいよ、あなた。戦後生まれにいくら話しても当時の苦労なんか伝わらないわよ。
ん？またわしの悪い癖が出てしもうたな。すまんすまん。
あなたたちもお茶をしていきなさいよ。たまには自分たちがどういう紅茶を入れてるか、その下で学ぶのもいい勉強になると思うわ。
いえ、結構です。
Because it's poisoned.
お気遣いなく。
少し付き合ってくれよ。大人ばかりで俺も窒息しそうなんだ。
そら、次期当主のバトラ様のご命令だぞ。そこに座って俺たちとしばらくお茶しろい。それで最近の出来事とか趣味とか見てるテレビとか若者の今の流行りとかそういう話をしやがれ。
Whatever this damn Gen Alpha shit is about, Skibidi Toilet or something like that, I don't know.
俺たちの勉強になるからな。
明暗ね。ほら、二人とも座って。そして話題に飢えた私たちの生贄になってちょうだい。
そうやな。若い子と話をしよう思たらキャバクラでもいかんとこの年では難しいわ。
いつまでボサッと突っ立ってんのよ。ルドルフが座れと命令したわ。座りなさいよ。私も許可してあげるわ。
After giving Eva's permission, Shannon and Kennen looked at each other and finally obeyed, nervously. For a while, the two were pounded by questions and became the relatives' playthings. Oh boy. Then, a reserved knocking sound could be heard. All of the servants tended to knock in a similar manner, so no one found it strange. However, Shannon and Kennen turned around with surprised looks on their faces. Oh? The servants here today included the two of them, Genji, Kumasawa, Goda. Yeah, Goda had the midnight shift at the guest house. Kumasawa had gone to bed in the spare room in the guest house. Okay, so it's Goda and Kumasawa there. The two of them were right here, so Genji was the only person left. But they knew very well that Genji would knock like that.
誰だ
Oh.
空いてるぜ。勝手に入れよ。
Maybe Natsuhi and Klaus? Or just Klaus? Rudolph didn't recognize Nanaki. Well, Rudolph wouldn't recognize it. When he asked who is it, it became apparent that no one knew whose knock it was. Erica? After that, the same knock, knock repeated just once more. Could it be that someone had their hands full and was asking that the door be opened for them? As a slightly odd feeling began to encompass the room, the sound of the large clock in the hall could be heard. Ah, shit. It was a sign that October 4th had ended and October 5th had begun. Let's step back in time a bit. Oh, fuck. Oh, damn. For first time seeing the mansion in the dark. At this time, Klaus and Natsuhi were a ways off in a deserted corridor on the second floor.
もうそれしか手はないのかね。
はい。
I mean, what the hell are you gonna do?
明日一日、同じ手はもはや通用しないでしょう。これ以上を渋れば、エヴァさんたちはお父様を監禁しているなどと主張して、警察に訴える可能性さえあります。
I mean, what the hell do you exactly do in this situation?
もう、これが限界です。バトラ君が黄金を発見するのが全く想定外でした。あれさえなければなんとかうまくやりくりできる筋書きを考えていたのですが。
私がかけるといつもこうだな。いつも想定外のことが起き、絶対確実だった話がおかしくなる。
I mean, there truly aren't any absolute certainties in life, Klaus.
明日の朝、お父様の部屋が空っぽであるということにします。源氏と口裏を合わせ、早朝に森へ出かけていくのを見たと言わせましょう。
その思想をエヴァたちが素直に受け入れるとは思えん。
客も承知です。しかし、もうそれしか手がありません。
I mean, fair enough.
そのようなことをすれば、エヴァたちは疑わしいと騒ぎ立てるだろう。エヴァたちは金をせしめるためなら、なりふりなど構わない。それこそおかしな雑誌とつるんで、私の信用にダメージを与えてくるかもしれない。
ダメージで済むではありませんか。万一にもお父様の秘密を知られたら、それどころでは済みません。
明日一日をギリギリまで粘ってからでも遅くはない。もしも明日を無事に乗り切ることができれば、私たちは何も失うものはないのだ。焦って失踪という切り札を切る必要はない。
彼らがお父様を監禁していると騒ぎ立て、そこに失踪していたと返すのですか？
I know this is a bit off topic right now, but while I was going on Twitter, I saw like the opening for the episode 3 of the Umineko stage play, which was actually really fucking cool to see. So I kind of want to watch those stage plays like after I finish with Umineko, if they have any spoilers in them, since they've only adapted the first 4 episodes, so technically I could watch them. Unless they do have spoilers in it, which, you know, in case I won't. But, yeah, you guys could tell me. But I'm very curious in those stage plays, especially in how you can adapt a complex story such as this one. Like, truly, how the fuck do you adapt this type of story in any other medium? Like, in anime, maybe it could work, but like you still have like 20 minutes for a pure episode. You would have to like separate each episode into a different season, really. A movie, well, you would have to make a series of movies in order for that to work as well. So I'm just very curious on how people would adapt this story into other mediums. Like with Higurashi, I can actually see it. I can actually see how people could adapt that into, anime or whatever else, because you can cut some things here and there because, obviously, a visual novel is a lot longer than an anime or movie or whatever else. Like, that's easily, I feel like you could definitely adapt it. But this story specifically, I don't know, man. There's just so fucking many layers to it, man.
もうお父様にお休みいただきましょう。これ以上は無理です。
落ち着きたまえ。エヴァたちの毒気を浴びすぎて冷静を失っただけだ。あの社債に入る鍵は2本しかない。そしてその2本はここに。君がだから誰も入ることなどできん。あの扉は特別性だ。彼らが倉庫からどんな工具を持ってこようともびくともせんよ。
そういう物理的な問題ではありません。
だから焦るな。落ち着け。なんなら君は熱を出したことにして寝込んでいてくれればいい。その間に私が全て乗り切ってみせる。
あなただけに任せられません。私も最後まで戦います。
When Natsuhi could no longer hold back the tears brought on by her fierce emotions, Klaus held her gently. Just how long had it been since the last time she felt the warmth of her husband's compassion?
頭痛がひどいのだろう。君がそういうシワを眉間に浮かべるときはいつもそうだ。
あなた。
She had come to think that her husband could never guess the way she felt. But at times like this...
失踪という切り札は最後の最後まで待とう。殿下の報道と同じだよ。抜かないうちが花だ。大事なのはいつでも抜けるという心構えではないかね。
それは分かっています。
その切り札を私に預けてくれんかね。もちろん最後の瞬間の責任は全て私が取る。君とジェシカは巻き込まん。
それはどういう意味ですか。
後ろ宮家が滅ぶ時、その瓦礫に潰されるのは私だけで十分だ。台風が過ぎたら 離婚届を準備しよう。
Damn.
それに捺印し、君に預けておく。内緒で君の名義にしてある財産がある。さらにそれに慰謝料を加えれば、君とジェシカは不自由なく暮らせるはずだ。
嫌です。私の墓碑に刻むべき名は後宮夏日です。 どうか最後の瞬間までご一緒に。たとえあなたが後宮家最後の当主であろうとも、夏日を最後までどうか当主夫人であなたの妻でいさせてください。
Klaus's existence was founded solely upon the trust and power of his assets as a financial fixer. If either of those weakened, nothing would remain. If they used a trump card of Kinzo's disappearance, they would lose one of those two essential supports. It was like offering your right arm in exchange for your neck being cut. It was probably better than losing your head, but you still might die from the blood loss. And even on the off chance that you did survive, you'd have to bear a heavy wound that wouldn't heal for the rest of your life. Klaus was prepared even for death. Understanding this, Natsuhi buried her face in Klaus's chest and cried.
お取り込み中、失礼いたします。
It's moments like this. It like, a lot of the time, during these, opening minutes, during these intros, like, recently, I always go on and on about the fury aspect of this game, the mystery aspect. But scenes like that is what makes us care about this story, these character interactions. At least that's what, I love character stuff. I truly do. I mean, hell, that's why I enjoyed the fuck out of Higurashi. And it just amazes me that Ryokushio 7 is able to have scenes like that while also having the mystery aspect, while also having the meta aspect to this story, that it doesn't feel disconnected. It doesn't. It feels like it's all part of the same gigantic story of Bador versus the culprits, Kinzo versus Beatrice, Klaus and Natsuhi versus, Ava's group. The servants, the furniture trying to become human. We have so many different motivations, so many different perspectives, so many different interpretations of this story. How can you describe this story in one word? Truly, how can you? Sure, you could call it a murder mystery. That is a big aspect of it. But that's not the whole thing. I mean, I can't remember the last time a murder mystery, character was this in-depth, because most murder mysteries are all about, the motive. They focus on some characters other than, more than others, obviously, because either they're the culprit or the victim. Right? Or maybe there are murder mystery novels out there. I haven't read many, so I could be totally wrong. But still, it's just so fascinating to me with this large of a cast, how in depth Ryokushio 7's writing can get with them. That makes them seem so goddamn genuine, so human. It just blows my mind. It truly does blow my mind. It also is able to have comedic fucking moments like Klaus versus Goat-kun. Like, it's insane that this game can exist. It truly is. Like, it's an anomaly, which makes it so goddamn great. The sudden appearance of Genji's voice made Natsuhi jump back and hurriedly wipe the tears from her eyes. Klaus stood in front of Natsuhi, shielding her.
Genji-sanか。驚かせないでくれたまえ。何か用かね。
はい。申し訳ございませんが、奥様にご報告が。
私にですか。
Oh, yeah.
あなた。
構わんよ。
Klaus left Natsuhi's side, went to a window a short ways off, and gazed at the windy and rainy rose garden. Natsuhi went with Genji to a place a short distance away.
何事ですか。
はい。実はまた奥様にお電話が。
Son of a bitch. This goddamn plot fraud. This goddamn fraud. At that moment, a sudden eerie sound surprised her. It was the large clock in the hall announcing 2400. Okay.
まさか、またあの男なのですか。
This goddamn bastard child storyline, damn it.
はい。いかがいたしましょ
う。要件は何だと言っていますか。
It's way too obvious. It's way too obvious. It's way too cliched. This goddamn plot line is just Whammy Delta fucking with us, man. I'm telling you. Never even introduced before in any other episode. There's no way in hell this goddamn bastard's child is the culprit. Fuck no. That's way too cliched. That's way too fucking easy. Hell no.
お答えいただけません。奥様と直接お話ししたいとの一点張りでございます。
You won't convince me, Ryukushiro-7. You won't fucking convince me, damn it. Again, a phone call from the man who claimed to be taking revenge for something that happened 19 years ago. Actually, we know for a fact it isn't the culprit, because as it was explained to Meta Battler, Beatrice's aim isn't for revenge, or for pleasure, or for instilling fear. So, it can't be revenge. 19 years ago. That was just 1 year before Jessica and Battler were born. Oh, yeah? In Natsuhi's eyes, the gap between 19 years ago and 18 years ago was immense. For a long time, she had been unable to fulfill her role of creating a successor for the Ushio family, and had been treated very coldly, that's right. But then she finally gave birth to Jessica, and became able to call herself the Ushio successor's wife with her head held high. So in her eyes, Ushio Natsuhi began 18 years ago. That's why everything before that, including the events of 19 years ago, contained nothing but hateful memories. And something from the last year of that hateful period is whispering vengeful words from the other side of that phone. They can still hear the roar of the sea. Ooh, roar of the sea.
いかがなさいますか？
私の部屋に転送しなさい。主人には内密に。
So either the phone lines are down, therefore the call is coming from somewhere within the manor or on the island, or the phone lines are still up.
かしこまりました。
I feel like it's going to be the first one. It's like Scream of like, I'm inside your home. Fucking Ghostface. I didn't watch Scream. From the very beginning, Genji had guessed that she wouldn't want Klaus hearing about this phone call. That's why he had told Natsui covertly. Natsui ordered that he transfer the call, told Klaus that she would turn in for the night, and left at a quick pace. Oh boy. She returned to her room and locked the door. There was nothing peculiar about that. In the Ushio family hallways are like public wards. There's no special meaning in locking the door when you enter your own room. This is what she told herself. Then, as though it had been waiting for her, the telephone rang. Genji had probably transferred the call. She took a deep breath, waited herself, and picked up the receiver. Again, it started with silence. She realized that the person at the other end was trying to irritate her and make her feel uncomfortable, and she got angry.
どうして黙っているのですか？切ります。
Still bad word. It's VA.
切るなよ、母さん。もう少し声を聞いていたいんだからさ。
Again, that unpleasant voice.
私を愚弄する気ですか？要件を追いなさい。
母さんと遊びたい。
は？何を言っているんですか、あなたは。私はあなたとなど遊びたくありません。
親族会議で疲れたんだろ。持病の頭痛はだいぶ辛いんじゃない。
余計なお世話です。
Just the fact that he knew her headache was troubling her made a shiver run up her spine.
頭痛になるのは頭が凝ってるから。そのままベッドに入ったっていい夢は見られないよ。
だから余計なお世話だと言っています。切りますよ。
Natsui forcefully yelled that she was hanging up, but in actuality she couldn't. After all, being at the receiver end of a phone call was much better than the alternative. If she hung up violently, this person might then call someone else. A game, huh? You wanna play a game, Natsui?
それをあなたに教えると思いますか？
教えてくれないなら俺が知るよ。いいのかい？
It was cruelly of Fred. It meant that if she forced him to hang up the phone, anything might happen. Humiliated that she was forced to give in to a threat made by a man whose name she didn't even know, she gave him the answer he wanted. Yeah, for some reason I had just fallen in my head.
過ごしやすい季節だからです。他に特に理由はありません。これで満足ですか？
ああ、満足だ。やっぱり母さんの季節は俺と同じだ。俺も秋が好きなんだ。
What's your favorite holiday, Natsuhi?
嘘つき。出任せを言うんじゃありません。
Surely this man would have done the same thing no matter what season I said I liked. What is he after? What's so fun about making me uncomfortable like this?
嘘つきなんてひどい。手任せなんかじゃない。俺は母さんが秋が好きだって確信してたぞ。証拠を見て。
Proof.
証拠？
ああ、母さんの部屋に時計がある。
時計？ええ、ありますが、それが何か。
In Natsuhi's room, there was a beautiful antique clock with an intricate design. Klaus had bought it for her as a birthday present long ago.
今は0時7分ですね。もう眠いので、茶番を早く終わらせなさい。
その時計、持ち上げてみて。
どうしてです？
俺の言うことにお前は歯がかむじゃない。黙って言われた通りね。
The tone of the man's voice suddenly went low, turning into a threat. It made his displeasure clear. At first, this man seemed to have a calm way of speaking, but on the inside, that wasn't the case at all. If she enraged this man even a little more, he would surely show his true nature right away.
そんなに電話をしてこうしてあんたに電話をするうちが花なんだ。あんたが19年前にしたこと、俺はいつだってあんたの旦那や娘に話すことができる。
あなたが何の話をしているか知りませんが、夫や娘を巻き込まないでください。こうして私が電話を聞いていますから。
Then just do what you're told. It's just so low. Once again, the man threatened her in a low voice, as though warning her not to interrupt again. My head was filled with the pain from my headache, the sound of my beating heart, and the roar of the sea. I can't disobey him anymore. As the man had ordered, I lifted up the antique clock. There lay what appeared to be a single playing card. What the fuck? Is it the warranty for the clock? Thinking this, she took it and turned it over. A jack. Oh no, a joker. Alright, what's with the playing card? Ooh. Murderer, huh?
せてやるよ。ほら嬉しいだろ。嬉しいだろ。
嬉しいです。嬉しいです。やめて。夫と娘に構わないで。
Jesus.
何が要求ですか？
The hell is on that card?
お金ですか？いくらですか？
金なんか持ってない。俺の金をいくらかやってだ。そうだ。それは何？
What, start murdering everybody around here one by one?
ドローの事故。それは俺の縁。そいつを盗むしか耐えられない。
Natsuhi had never had anything so hateful said to her in their entire life. So she suspected many times that she must have been having some sort of bad dream. However, this definitely wasn't a dream.
あなたはまさかこの島にいるのですか？
ああ、約束しただろう。親族会議が出る。
不可能です。この台風では来られるわけもありません。
He's at the dining room right now.
台風になる前から来てれば問題はないよ。それに台風の最中であってもエリカとかいう来客があったはずだ。
Now 50-50. Either he's on the island or he sent Erica to this island. Her blood flows. Fudo Erica had supposedly been brought here by coincidence. If he knew that name, he would have to be very close by.
あなたはどこに？
あんたの紹介さえは誰の前にも現れない。もっと俺を探しても無駄だよ。あんたの屋敷は広い。電話だってそこいら中にあるし。あんただって俺に会いたくないだろう。それとも俺を見つけ出してみんなに紹介してくれる。ジェシカにも紹介してくれよ。一つ何です
やめて。ジェシカに構わないで。
怖がらせすぎだ。今夜はこれで勘弁してやるよ。忘れるな。あんたは俺に逆らえない。分かってるな、
I guess in this game board, instead of letters, we have these phone calls. I guess this is a replacement.
今夜はこれで電話を切るが、明日の朝まで命令だ。
何ですか？
あんたは今夜もその部屋を出てはならないし、どこにも電話をかけてはならない。電話がかかってきても取ることも許さねえぜ。そして今すぐ明かりを消し、布団をかぶって寝ろ。そしていつもの時間に起床し。
What are you, fucking killer keto?
健康的な生活でいいな。母さんの体をいたわるなんて、本当に俺は親孝行者だよ。
Jeez.
わかりました。今すぐ寝ます。部屋も出ません。電話も出ません。だから夫と娘には。
I feel like so at the beginning of this episode, we had Erica convincing everyone else that Natsuhi is the culprit. So these scenes could be Natsuhi's sort of like alibi as to why she wasn't there at certain times or places, you know, of like someone from her past was the one that killed everybody else. That could be, that's what these scenes represent. It's just merely Natsuhi's making up these stories in order to cover her own ass, maybe. Or maybe it's true. Nah, I don't believe it.
母さんが俺の命令を守る限り、あんたの命令をやめる。俺はもうお前の近くに。部屋の明かりが消えるかどうか、そして電話をしているかどうか。俺に俺さえもあんたの寝顔にキスする。
Fucking creepy, dude.
守ります。約束は守ります。だからやめて。もうやめて。やめて。
As she screamed, Natsuhi took the card she had found under the clock and crushed it up into a little ball. That's the biggest question. What the hell is on that card? It had a pattern on it like a tarot card. Ooh. And also the kanji for autumn. Ooh, shit. Interesting. Pattern like a tarot card. And the kanji for autumn, huh? What's a tarot card that's associated with fall? Let's step back in time once again. Whoa, stepping back in time, aren't we? Right now, it is the exact moment that the large clock in the hall announced 2400. Wondering who the person who knocked twice was, the relatives in the dining hall stared at the door. Rudolph told them to come in, but there was no answer. Until the end of that long tone marking the arrival of 2400, which had come from the large clock in the hall shortly after the knock. They were unable to move in the slightest.
手が塞がってて開けられないんじゃないのか。
Who's behind that door?
かもな。だが名乗らねえってのは薄気味悪いな。
開けますか。
開けなさい。
Cannon nodded back, then slowly opened the door. Oh shit. A package or something.
これは親父の封筒。
Okay. Okay. Right behind the open door on the fourth hallway lay the envelope.
廊下には誰もいません。
Interesting.
これを置いて立ち去ったのでしょうか。
Change the method of giving the card, huh? The adults flew out into the corridor as well, but they could find no trace of anyone who might have knocked on the door. Just about an hour ago, Shin and Cannon had come in to serve tea. At that time, everyone had seen that nothing lay in that spot. Someone came, knocked, left an envelope with the mark of the one-winged eagle on it, and left.
まさか親方様でしょうか。
考えられない話じゃないわ。この屋敷で誰と呼ばれて返事をしないのはお父様くらいだもの。
So what's the contents, huh?
ありえないわ。ならどうしてお父様は堂々と入ってこないの？
そうやな。お父さんだったらノックなどせずいきなり入ってくるやろな。今この屋敷は戸締まりがされとるんやろ。ならここに手紙を置くことができるのはクラウスさんか夏日さん、そして源氏さんの誰かしか考えられんで。
By this point, the mansion had been completely locked up. Therefore, the cousins in the guest house, Nanjoko, Kumasawa, and Erika could not have come here. Furthermore, since Klaus, Natsuhi, and Genji were the only three who weren't in this room, one of those three had to have been the one who set that letter down in the corridor. So it was very likely that Klaus and the others had placed the letter there to make it seem like a message from Kinzo.
なるほどね。お父様の名を語ってバトラ君を次期当主に認めないみたいなことが書いてあるのよ。
Maybe something different.
バカバカしい。 兄さん、よくもこんな子供騙しを。
別に俺は次期当主なんて興味ねえぞ。
諦めろ。それがお前の運命なんだよ。
Damn.
とにかく中身を読んでみようじゃね
Rudolph set the window down the hall table and let everyone see the front and back to show that there were no tricks or hidden mechanisms. Almost like a magician does before performing his act.
この封筒は間違いなくお父様の封筒なの？
ええ、間違いないわ。お父様が新書に好んで使う封筒よ。どう、シャノンちゃん。
はい、私の目にも親方様が使われる封筒に見えます。
だからってお父様が書いたってことにはならないわよ。兄さんならお父様の書斎の引き出しからひょいと手に入れることなんて造作もない話だわ。
Also, the ring could be literally anywhere by this point, since, Kidzo's been dead for a year, so.
クラウスさんとで容易に書斎には入りません。封筒を盗み出すなど難しいこと
え。開けてみようぜ。それから考えても遅くないはずだ。何か入ってる。なんだろう。
Something in it, huh? Is it a letter, or... Rudolph opened the envelope a bit waffly, then a folded letter, and a glittering object fell out. Object? It was a ring. Oh, did it really come with the ring in last time? I think it did. It's just a little detail I forgot about, I think.
え？ちょっと、その指輪？
No, wait. It wouldn't come with the ring because Ava noticed and immediately grabbed at it.
お父様の指輪よ。
Oh shit.
当主の指輪だわ。
なんやて？
Now why put it in there?
ほんまか？
間違いなくお父様の指輪なの？
No, wait. Did they do that in the first episode? I can't remember. It's been a while.
レプリカということ？
これは本物よ。私はいつかこの指輪を自分の指に通してやるとずっと夢見てきたのよ。お父様が指にしてた時から私は誰よりもこの指輪のことをよく知ってるわ。
Oh, also, before I forget, some people may be typing up comments about, like, episode 3 specifically. And I actually thought about this too. If the culprit wants to play a game with specifically Bador, then why did they let Ava kill Bador? Which is a good question. And what I think it is that the culprit does have a keen interest in Bador specifically, which makes them allow, which allows Bador to live through most of these murders throughout these game boards. But Willie could be anyone a part of the family that the culprit is interested in, really. And specifically for episode 3, they allowed Ava to live because she was the one to kind of win, I guess, in a way. Either by solving the mystery or by, easily just killing the culprits. We have no idea what, happened after. I was thinking of, why the culprit would let Ava live, but I think the more probable answer is that Ava just straight up murdered the culprit, which makes sense because if they killed Hideyoshi and George, Ava would probably just kill him. That means she killed Bador, so why not? So.
これはお父様の指輪よ、間違いなく。どうしてここに？
じゃあ、やっぱりこの手紙はお父様だ。
こりゃ差出人は親父じゃねえぞ。もっと面白い。
Beatrice?
じゃあ誰からの手紙だって？
後ろ宮家
Yeah.
顧問錬金術師。
Okay, so the contents are the same.
黄金の魔女ベアトリーチェ様からだぜ。
Beatrice-sama. Rudolph showed everyone the part of the weather that was wooden. Well, he did say that.
ベアトリーチェから？
なんて書いたの？
読むぞ。Congratulations. バトラ様が異分の謎を見事に解かれ、
Oh.
黄金鏡にたどり着きましたことを認めます。
No, it's different.
黄金はすべてバトラ様のものです。そして後宮家の新しき当主もバトラ様です。その証として金蔵様よりお預かりしている当主の指輪をお送りします。
Okay.
どうぞバトラ様、指輪をされて新しい黄金の主となり、どうか後宮家をお導きください。
Okay, so this is the first time the ring's been in the water. Alright.
新しき当主のご活躍を心よりお祈りいたしております。なんてこった。親父が書斎から出てこねえもんだから、森の魔女ベアトリーチが直接バトラを認めてくれたわけだ。
バトラ君、この指輪はあなたが持つの。これは当主が身につけるべき特別な指輪。ベアトリーチェが何者か知らないけれど、彼女は一部始終を認めて、あなたが真の跡継ぎだと認めてこの指輪を贈ったのよ。
Yippee.
いいんすか、こんな重要な指輪を。
ああ、いいんだ。誇らしげに指にはめるといい。いいか、兄貴や夏日さんが外せと言っても絶対に外すんじゃねえぞ。
All the while, just with creepy smiles on their faces, urged Bador to put the ring on his finger. It looked like things would get pretty nasty if he refused, so Bador reluctantly decided to put it on the middle finger of his left hand. The ring was heavy and stiff. At that moment, Kwass returned. Genji came back as well shortly behind him.
申し訳ないね。妻は具合が悪そうだったので先に休ませてもらった。
Actually, because we saw that scene of the clock, ringing, it can't be Kwass or Genji or Natsuhi since they were pretty much together at that time.
何かあったのかね。なんだか諸君がひどく慌ただしいよ。
So it must be a third party, which must mean it must be Natsuhi's bastard son. No, fuck off.
バトラさん、それは。
Immediately, Genji keenly spotted that which Bador had just put on his finger.
さすが源氏さんや。これが誰の指輪かわかるようやな。
何の話だね。
Judging by Cross's dubious expression, it seemed unlikely that he was the one who placed the letter there. Furthermore, that expression quickly changed into one of shock. Plus, I mean, for God's sake, why would they put the ring inside that letter if it was Cross, Genji, or Natsuhi? What point would that be?
そうよ、後宮家当主の指輪よ。
The throwaway conference took up this new topic, and the storm came once again. Ay, ay, ay. Is there anything else in the letter? Is that seriously it? Oh, Beatrice, quote-unquote Beatrice, acknowledging Bador. The rain was still pouring down as hard as ever. The weather was supposed to continue all day tomorrow as well, which made me feel a bit depressed. Oh wait, given the time I should say today, not tomorrow. But that doesn't really matter now. I'm sleepy. With half asleep eyes, I opened my umbrella. The large drops of rain pounded mercilessly against it. Technically, the end of the family conference had been declared at 1 a.m. But external scuffles kept continuing sluggishly. I'm really jealous of all that Rosa managed to sweep out of there at that time. She cleverly got away by saying that she'd check on Maria, who might have been staying up too late. Dad caught me, ruining my chance to escape. And they made me stick around until now, 3 a.m. Hey, don't worry, Bador. I record most of these episodes at 3 a.m. Except for this time, it's 4 a.m. So what have they decided on after all this time? Nothing at all. They just kept arguing about who said what, like elementary school kids. I'm sure they're tired too. It's probably why they keep dragging on with the same pointless questions. I no longer felt any shock or anger towards them. I guess that drowsiness is the best painkiller. I left them behind and finally returned to the guest house. Oh boy. I got a bad feeling about this. When I got back to the guest house, the first floor lounge was lit. I could even hear people chatting inside. Apparently, some people were still awake even this late. Erica, maybe? Okay. Despite the late hour, Goda-san and Dr. Nanjo were still up and chatting. Plates and cups were lined up on the counter, and it looked almost like a bar with Goda-san as the bartender. When they noticed I returned, they seemed to finally realize how late it was. When Goda-san made to top off Dr. Nanjo's glass, the latter declined with an exaggerated gesture.
もう結構です。この時間では夜更かしのしすぎだ。
Got it. I think Nanjiro's just the funniest character. Because just his presence, he's just the most normal guy ever. If we're this fucking deep into this game with fucking witches, demons, and all that, Nanjiro's just the damn doctor. Nanjiro's just so funny.
もうこんな時間とは。南條先生があまりにお話がお上手なものでついつい。
それを言ったらあんたの酒の魚のおかげだ。また別の機会に一杯やりましょう。
喜んで。バトラ様、お帰りなさいませ。まだ旦那様方の会議は続いておりますか？
あの調子でグダグダと明け方までやるんだろうぜ。知ったことじゃねえぜ。
I spoke carelessly with a big yawn.
皆さん、案外体力がおありですね。びっくりです。
なんだ、お前まで言った。
Of course she is. I'm not surprised. Of course, Erica's a fucking night owl.
なんとなく流れでこちらでささやかな夜会が始まったもので混ぜてもらっていました。例のことは話してませんのでご安心を。
Erica could be seen on the sofa. She had taken her shoes off and was lounging around as though she owned the place.
エリカ様も本当にいろいろなお話をご存知で、とても楽しく聞かせていただきました。
What about herself?
あんたは本当に博識だ。若いのに大したもんだよ。
どういたしまして。フルドエリカはこの程度には博識ですので。
Trifles. Erica grabbed the corners of her skirts and posed. This was somehow less than graceful considering that she was lounging on the sofa with her feet up.
ローザおばさん。
午前の1時頃にお戻りになりましたが、すぐに上がられ、お休みになられました。
That's probably true. After taking part in that conference for so long, I like flopping down in bed right away myself. I've had it. I'm tired enough that I might flop over it right there.
さあ、私たちもこれくらいにしましょう。ゴーダさんも明日の朝食の準備で朝が早いのでしょう。
朝食の仕込みはすでに済んでおります。どうぞ明日の朝食も大いにご期待いただければ幸いです。
In Goda-san's eyes, the family conference is an open stage on which to display his culinary skills. Maybe this invigorates him so much that he doesn't even get sleepy. Erica stood up, laughing at how youthful Goda was. This became a sign that it was time to disperse.
お片付けは私の方でしておきます。どうぞ皆様はお休みを。
Leaving the queen up to Goda-san, I went to the bathroom and then climbed the stairs to the second floor. Boy.
それでは皆さん、おやすみなさい。老骨にはちっと夜更かしが過ぎましたな。
おやすみなさい南條先生。おやすみなさいバトラさん。
おう。おやすみ。
Then, in the second floor hallway, we split up. Dr. Nanjo went to his own room. Erika went to her room. Yes. And I returned to the cousin room. I couldn't hear any sounds of playing coming from our room. Could they have fallen asleep already? No surprise at this time of night. If they were still playing, they would have been staying up way too late. When I opened the door quietly, as expected, the room was already pitch black except for a small nightlight. Everyone was already sleeping in their beds. I'm sure they had all had a great time and played a ton. Then they probably talked about youthful things and enjoyed staying up late. If only I hadn't found the gold, I could have enjoyed my time with them. I'm already tired. So tired. Forgetting even to change my clothes or brush my teeth, I crawled into bed and immediately began to descend into the marshes of sleep. Today's been so insane. I wonder if that old bastard is still in that family conference now. How does he not get tired? Come to think of it, what was it that old bastard said when we parted company? Son of a bitch, they're finally bringing this up? Oh my god. I'm sure it's more stuff about being the successor. I don't even want to hear about it. Oh shit! That's what he meant? I'll kill you whenever you want, you old bastard. Then, what was it he said next? Oh my god, I was right! It was talking about his fucking actual mother! My birth? Probably just something about the noble Ushiro lineage. Not interested. I know this game wants me to think that the person talking to Natsuhi is Bador, but I ain't convinced, because it's been said in one text that it's not fucking Bador is the culprit, damn it. Not interested. Just let me sleep. Oh, it's probably going to turn out that the cousins weren't actually sweeping, but sweeping with the fishes, you could say. Revenge for 19 years ago. Oh boy. The sound of crashing waves. The sound of the tide surging. The noise of the sea breeze. Whenever my headache torments me, these are the sounds that fill my head. Natsuhi. Just like episode 1, we start off with Natsuhi. Unable to bear a successor, I was in a very difficult position with regards to the Ushiro family. Whenever I heard of a drug or incense that could make you achieve pregnancy, I tried it, but nothing had any effect. Until I was blessed with Jessica 18 years ago, I was ashamed to even call myself a wife.
こうなすのは二人の努力と天の気まぐれ。そなたばかりが責められたのでは割が合わぬな。
何が原因で解任できなかったのかは今となっては分かりません。名医のもとにも通いました。屈辱的な検査も受けました。しかしいつも理由は分からないと言われるだけでした。結婚から短くない時間を経て未だ子を宿せない。なるほどな。次期当主を密かに狙うエヴァが首をもたげぬわけもない。
Ava tried to convince father that I was a failure as the successor's wife. It was a time when Kenzo was also very disappointed by my husband's repeated business failures. On the other hand, Ava's husband, Hiroshi's business was going well, completely the opposite of my husband's. He was the only person who could bring father good news. So perhaps father couldn't be blamed if he decided to lend an ear to Ava's words, or even accept them completely. It was all my fault because I couldn't bear a child.
そなたに罪などない。この国の赤ん坊はコウノトリが運んでくるのであろうが。裁かれるなら、それはコウノトリになるのが道理というもの。
Blame the stork.
ありがとう。しかし、いくら当時はまだご健康とはいえ、すでにご高齢の当主様が早く孫の顔を見たいと思われていたことは想像に難くありません。
知るか。孫が欲しくば、うなるほど持っている金で好きにすればよかろうに。金で生み出せぬものはないと豪語した金蔵だ。孫が欲しくば、自慢の金で何とかすればよいものを。
ええ、そうです。当主様は子を宿せぬ私を見限られ、その通りになされたのです。
The head gave to many charities, making it the duty of anyone in possession of so much money. One among these, an orphanage known as the Fukin House, actually means gospel. Fukin House had been given especially large donations, possibly because he had no ties with that place.
ああ、福音の家か。よくあそこから家具どもがやってきていたな。
Fukuin. I think Fukuin House sounds correct.
当主様は社会活動と職業訓練の一環として福音の家の子たちの中から成績優秀な子を使用人として受け入れていました。当家にいるシャノンやカノン、ルノンやマノン、レノンなどの音の名を持つ使用人はすべてそこからやってきた子たちでした。
いろいろな連中がいたな。多くはほんの数年で辞めるがな。
当家の給金は数年も働けば十分社会で生活していけるだけたまるでしょうし、後宮家での使用人経験は履歴書に通用する立派な肩書きになります。
It's nice.
それを得て社会へ羽ばたいてくれれば当主様もきっと本望だったでしょう。
なるほど。よしか。
An adopted child, huh?
お父様、今何とおっしゃいましたか？
この赤子を我が孫として迎えよ。
Ooh.
よしよしよし。
Really?
よしよしよしよし。
Apparently, the baby that Kumasawa was trying to soothe didn't like the study air at all. It kept on crying, upset.
申し訳ありません、お父様。私には
この赤子を我が孫として迎えよ。そしてクラウスの後を継ぐ者として育てるのだ。
は
あ。それはつまり私と夫の子として育てよとおっしゃるのですか？
Okay, so quite the opposite of a bastard child, huh? Literally, fucking Kinto gave it to Natsuhi.
そうだ。お前に子が宿せぬことはもはや明白。お前の体には何かしらの問題があるに違いない。
おー、よしよしよしよしよし。おー、よしよしよしよしよし。
Okay, the question is, where the hell did you get that baby, Kenzo? As though she couldn't hear our discussion in the slightest, Kumasawa kept on trying to coddle the baby. This made it cry even louder.
暴言だな。女の責任だけで子が産めるなら、この世に男など必要ないわ。
あの日の悔しさを忘れたことはありません。私とて子が欲しくなかったわけがない。でもいくら祈ろうとも身ごもれないのです。 私の体に原因があるのではないかといくつもの名医を訪ね歩きました。しかしそれでもいくら努力しても身ごもれなかったのです。
その挙句がこの仕打ちでは察するぞ。
The baby had been picked up by the Fukin house just recently. Of course, you can help but feel compassion for this child. He was so young and had already lost its parents' affection. However, it brought me nothing but pain and sadness. It would have been another story if I had suffered to bear this child. But why should I be forced to hold this baby, who not only shared none of my blood, but who is not related to my husband in the slightest either? Interesting. I mean, I get where she's coming from. I mean, it's quite literally just Kenzo handing her a baby of like, okay, you failed, you couldn't get pregnant, here's a baby. Just fucking raise it, alright? Damn. I guess in some sort of way, then Kenzo would have to have like some sort of compassion for Natsuhi in that aspect, that if he's quite literally giving her a baby to raise, you know? I guess maybe, yeah, because he just wants a successor. Maybe it's that. Maybe a part of it is just that, of him just wanting a successor to come after Klaus. But it could also be part compassion for, you know, the fact that Natsuhi can't get pregnant, so it's like, might as well give you this, you know, like, take it as a form of charity, you know?
お父様も恨んではいません。もし恨めるのなら、ただただ自分の体が恨めしかった。憎かったんです。子を宿せぬ我が身がひたすらに憎かった。
Jeez.
だから私は祈りました。天使と悪魔の両方に。そしてその両方が叶いました。
天使には何と祈ったか。
私の体に奇跡を。私の体に問題があるというなら、それを受け入れましょう。ならばそれを克服して、どうか夫の子を授かることのできる奇跡を私に。
その願いはあなたはその次の年に見事にジェシカを産むことになる。
そして悪魔には何と祈ったか。
悔しい、悔しい。この身が恨めしい。そしてそれを見せつけるかのようなこの赤ん坊が憎かったんです。
Shit.
何を願われたのですか。
私は初めて悪魔に祈りました。願いました。この赤ん坊が消えてなくなってしまえばいいのにって。
Jeez. Of course, that wish was also granted by demons. On that day, I left the baby with an older servant and went to think about the future in the rose garden. No, that's a lie. I didn't want to think about anything. The baby's cries were annoying, so I ordered the servant to take the baby to a place where I couldn't hear. By a place where I couldn't hear, I meant somewhere far away. Yes, I wished for it. I wished for the servant to take the baby far away and never return.
なるほど。
はあ。
雪吊りの悪魔が夏日様のその願いを聞いてしまったのです。
So literally just take it away.
してどうなったのか。
それは悪魔が願いを叶えてくれたとしか思えない奇妙な事故でした。
The woodland path from the rose garden to the harbor is probably well suited for a comfortable walk. It must surely feel good and to occasionally leave the path and walk through a grove of trees depending on your mood. However, wouldn't that path be very hard to travel on when taking a walk with a baby in your arms?
その先は断崖でした。
Oh boy, Natsuhi.
高さは多分10メートルくらいはあったと思います。下は岩場、そこには柵もあったのです。その使用人はわざわざそんなところまで赤ん坊を抱いたまま歩いていき、そして柵に寄りかかったとでも言うのでしょうか。まるで悪魔に手招きされて誘われたとしか思えない。
誘われちゃったのね。あなたの願いを聞いた悪魔がその使用人を招いちゃったんだわ。
それではその使用人と赤ん坊は
死にました。
Wow. Holy shit.
崖から転落して下の岩場。いえ、私が願ったから死んだ。
Because you wished it? Or because you didn't?
だからこれは
そなたのせいではない。その先を考える必要はないぞ。
私が願ったから。
いいや違う。願えども叶えるか否かは神と悪魔と魔女の気まぐれ。そなたに罪はない。人間に罪はない。
Sinless, huh?
わらわが殺したことにしてもよい。
Sinless.
いや、わらわが殺した。嘆くそなたを不憫に思い、わらわが赤子を連れた使用人を崖へいざない、その下に導いた。
Humans are sinless, huh? That's an interesting one. We like to place blame on gods, demons, mythical beings. Because we don't want to face the truth. That humans are humans. Humans are full of sins. So we blame it on different things, on magical entities, on demons, you know.
不幸な事故があっただけではありませんか。事故で納得がいかなくば我らの仕業。そのための悪魔でございます。
That's why demons exist. That is a good point. That's why demons do exist. Just blame it on them.
私たちはそのためにいるのだもの。あなたが殺したわけもない。私たちが殺したの。だからあなたには何の罪もない。だからどうか自身を責めないで、夏日。
そうでしょうか。本当に私に罪はないのでしょうか。
ああ、ないぞ。19年前の復讐を名乗るワーコード。呪うならわらわを呪うがよい。しかし呪うは魔女の専売特許。夏日に売りしその喧嘩、わらわが買おうではないか。わらわは後ろ宮家顧問錬金術師黄金のベアトリーチェ。使えし主に売りし喧嘩はわらわが買おうぞ。19年前の復讐とね。1000年の魔女の前にその程度の年月、瞬きにも足りぬと知れ。19年前にそなたの死を願った夏日が憎いか。思い出させてやろうぞ。そなたを崖下へ誘ったのは誰かをな。
As the middle-aged female servant cuddled the sobbing baby, she walked on a small path through the trees. Natsuhi had told her that the baby was too loud, so she had tried to get as far from the rose garden as she could. She was completely unaware as to why she'd gone out of her way to head in this direction. However, the sobbing baby suddenly stopped crying. Something was reflected in its eyes, but the servant couldn't tell what. However, thinking that the baby had stopped because it had taken an interest in something, she headed in the direction of the baby's gaze. The baby had seen a cloud of gold butterflies disappearing off into the trees. And on the other side of the trees, the servant could see a woman. Ooh, she didn't recognize this person, but it didn't look like anyone who was supposed to be here. The baby stopped crying and stared in that direction. Then the servant's legs started to automatically carry her that way.
こちらへ来い、女。その呪われた赤子を抱いてな。
The woman could disobey. She was completely overwhelmed by Pito's gold glowing eyes. As she walked slightly as though through a dream world. At some point, the scenery surrounding her had changed, but she did not notice. She could not notice. Though this should have been Wokenjima, at some point it had become the garden of a mansion she had never seen before. It was a garden she had never set eyes on, even grander than the great rose garden of the Uchiha family, a garden of gold roses. There stood an arbor, and a woman wearing an elegant dress beckoning to her. There was a man who looked like a butler, and the tea he poured with a beautiful gesture had a very nice and enticing smell. It was as though they were telling her to join their tea party. She couldn't disobey. She had to go to the master of this golden rose garden and give this child as an offering.
許せ、女。魔女に見入られた不運を呪え。そして、この世で決してめでることかなわぬ黄金のバラに囲まれながら眠れ。ガップ。
はい、了解。
When Gap snapped her fingers, a pitch black hole opened at the woman's feet and she was swallowed up along with the baby. The scene of the moment that followed must have burned itself into the eyes of the woman and the baby. Holy shit. That's a cool CG. The two floated in the air and looked down at the golden rose garden spread out below them. Below their feet was not the earth, but a golden rose garden that stretched as far as the eye could see without any gaps. They fell. If one could have this scene printed in their minds as their best memory, that would be such a merciful way to die. Then the woman and the baby were swallowed up by the golden sea. The funk was remarkably plain and remarkably quiet for a sound that stole away 2 lives. However, it made for a perfectly suitable show at the tea party of witches. With the woman and the baby at the center, the rose garden was slowly swallowed up by the darkness. The sound of the wind grew stronger bit by bit. Is that TV static? What is that noise? It was the War of the Sea. Ah, this CG right here. The two had fallen into the thicket of golden roses from that great height and died. Were gradually wrapped up in the War of the Sea, wrapped up in the scenery of the beach below the cliff.
わらわが保証するぞ。そなたには何の罪もない。19年前の復讐とやらは、このわらわが買おうぞ。
That'd be easy. Too easy.
崖下の2人を見つけ、私は青ざめました。そしてお屋敷へ駆け戻り、大騒ぎになりました。
Maybe it was that. Maybe it was just an accident.
大至急船で病院に運びましたが、あの高さで即死を免れただけでも奇跡。
But interesting. Yet another mother first one was Rosa, who witnessed Beatrice falling to her death off a cliff. Now we have Natsuhi, who saw a woman and a baby fall to their death as well.
シオニもそして赤ん坊も死にました。私はお父様から赤子を預けられ3日も経ないうちに殺した主人の出張中でした。当時まだお屋敷にお住まいだったローザさんもご友人と旅行中でした。六軒島には私とお父様しかいなかった。そして私とお父様以外誰もよく知らぬ間にどこからともなく赤ん坊が現れ、そして消えていった。あれはそう夢なのよ、悪夢。お父様は私を責めるに違いないと思っていました。しかし何か様子がおかしかった。
読めていたぞ、読めていたぞ、この天罰はな。どこまであがくのか、どこまで我が物にならぬというのか。からの檻に興味はない。打ち捨てい。
When father learned of the accidental death, he kept on laughing and laughing as though there could be no greater pleasure, enough that just listening to it gave me a creepy feeling. Perhaps something had come loose in his mind. From that day onwards, father shut himself up inside the world of the occult even more than he had ever had before. When my husband came back, he was surprised to see that father was even more bizarre than he had been before. However, he had already accepted that this would happen sooner or later. Of course, my husband had heard about the baby. However, he told me that it was surely just some whim of father's and to forget it. So I forgot it. It was an unfortunate accident. No, there wasn't an accident at all. I forgot everything, and even that the baby had existed in the first place. After all, it was a twisted nightmare that lasted not even 3 days. That's right, it was all a nightmare. I don't want to remember. The cliff, the broken fence, the war of the sea. Broken fence, huh? And the cry of the baby.
So の赤ん坊が19年前の赤ん坊だと？
くだらぬ。わらわが殺した。すでにこの世にはおらぬわ。
So the person Natsuhi's talking to the phone, because there's someone who's obviously calling Natsuhi. I mean, Genji knows about it. So he transfers it over to Natsuhi, but we don't really know the contents of that phone call, right? Maybe she's just projecting her own insecurities, her own grievances, her own hatred of herself, and projecting it onto this character of the baby that has come back 19 years later to kill her.
しかし、赤き真実なきが人間の世界。人間の世界に信用できることなどありません。
そうね。ベアタは確かに殺したわ。でも、人間の世界では生きていることになっているのかもしれない。本当に生きているのかどうかはともかくね。
実は生きていたというのですか。あの高さからあの岩場に転落して。
Maybe it is alive. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it's your own insecurities being projected, Natsuhi.
わからぬ。だが落ち着け。そやつがどうそなたを憎もうとも、真実は事故だ。そなたを恨もうなど、お門違いもいいところよ。
でも、たとえ指一本触れていないとしても、私は心の中で。
Maybe the reason why these memories are coming back to Natsuhi now of all times is because she's also hiding the death of Kinzo as well, just like the baby. you know, pretending that Kenzo's still alive. That's what's bringing on these headaches for her, is that she's remembering the previous, you know, death that she covered up as well of the servant and the baby.
落ち着け。19年前の男が何を恨もうと叫ぼうと、そなたを追求できる罪などあるわけもない。だから落ち着け。19年前の男はわらわの来客として迎えてやろうぞ。気分の謎を解かれ、お役はごめんかと思っていた矢先だ。わらわの最後の客としてもてなしてやらねばな。
Jeez。
面白くなってまいりましたが、ゴールドスミス教の秘密を守るのに加え、19人目の来客、さらに19年前の男とは。
そうね。金蔵が生きてると主張する私たちにとって。
Great, now we have 20 people.
19人目ね。その19人目の駒に19年前の男。面白いじゃない。ワクワクする
か。相手にとって不足なし。わらわの茶会の来客が一人では物足りないと思っていたところよ。来るがよ、愚か者どもめ。
Furudo Erika is Reddybird Castle's piece. In that case, whose piece is the man from 19 years ago? Me. My piece. The voice faintly seeping from the other side of the end of the wine was Natsuhi's. Oh. Is it really somebody? Are we going to see a sprite for them? Even this begging scream, which would shake the heart of any listener, could be listened to with a cold ruthlessness through the end of the receiver.
母さんが俺の約束を守る限り、あんたの秘密は守ってやるよ。約束を破るなよ。俺はもうお前のすぐ近くにいる。部屋の明かりが消えるかどうか、そして電話をしているかどうかさえ、俺には手を取るようにわかるんだ。俺さえ望むなら、あんたの寝顔にキスすることだってできるんだからな。
守ります。約束は守ります。だからやめて、もうやめて。
So whose perspective are we listening this from? Because it's a landline. Couldn't another person listen in without saying anything? The receiver swam down. He knew very well that the way you hang up a phone can leave a nasty aftertaste for the other side.
じゃあね。
はい、一丁上がり。これで夏日は今夜は部屋から出てこないわ。
器用ね。あんた声を変えられるの？
God damn it, why am I Delta?
声くらい誰だって変えられるわよ。パパにおねだりの時は甘い声、学校休む時は風っぽい声、実は嫌いな友達に断る時は申し訳なさそうな声。
お望みなら
どんな声でも
使うわけて
見せるけど、
あんた魔女やめたら声優になるといいわ。
これでお互い駒の準備は OK かしら。フルドエリカ、なかなか素敵な駒じゃない。演者なんかよりはるかにベルにふさわしい駒だわ。
お
褒めに預かりまして光栄です。ラブダデルタ卿、こちらこそよろしくよ。素敵だわ。本当に可愛い。魔女幻想に屈服させて、その顔を屈辱に歪めてやりたいわ。
だそうよ。私に恥をかかせないでよね。エンジェよりはるかに使える駒だってことを見せてちょうだい。
お任せを。ベルンカステル卿、我が主。私はあのようなネクラで低能で可愛げのかけらもない駒とは違います。
Man, fuck you. Angie was better than you.
本当よね。エンジェなんてクズ肉になってバトラを焚きつける以外何の役にも立たなかったわ。家族愛とか兄弟愛とか私たちは全然興味ないの。私たちが見たいゲームはもっとえぐくてドロドロしててグロテスクでポップでキュートな殺人事件だもの。
Oh yeah, Women Delta and Breakcast will absolutely represent you viewers. Women Delta, for example, is representing people who just care about, you know, the murder case. You know, just the murder, the mystery aspect of the game, you know? It's so interesting because it's still so interesting to think about that Ryukushi was writing these as, you know, they were, you know, coming out, you know, in between episodes and whatever. So we quite literally saw fan reaction towards these things, and he's able to incorporate that within these characters specifically.
夏日がキングでベアトがクイーンってとこかしら。夏日をかばって群がる魔女と家具たちはチェスの駒というよりは
ボーリングのピンって感じ。夏日にベアと金蔵にガラクタ家具の幻想たち、私たちを楽しませてみせなさいよね。特にベアと私たちもうあんたには飽きてるの。あんたの魔女伝説殺人ごっこはもうおしまい。あんたの出番もおしまいってわけ。このゲーム版はもう私とベルンがいただいたわ。あんたなんて私たちの駒に落ちぶれて永遠に遊ばれてるのがお似合いよ。
夏日もベアトも薄汚い真実という腹渡を薄皮一枚で包んだだけのズタ袋だわ。それをズタズタに引き裂いて中身を引きずり出すことこそ私のいいね、私たちの数少ない娯楽なの。
楽しく遊べるわよ。ねえ見てる？ベアトリーチェ、あんたのゲーム版はこんなにも楽しく遊べるのよ。私が見せてあげるわ。本当に楽しい第5のゲームをね。
私たちばっかり気持ちよく喋っちゃかわいそうだわ。ベアトにも喋らせてあげたわ。
だそうよ。特別に発言を許すわ。今回のゲームの抱負でも言っちゃったら？何もないって。そうよねそうよね。あんたバトルに屈しちゃった負け犬だもんね。私に任せなさい。魔女側優勢に一気に流れを変えてあげるから。ただあんたという駒はサクリファイスさせてもらっちゃうけどね。
気分も第一の番以前にあっさり解かれ、黄金の番人ベアトリーチェも型なしですね。
夏日の幻想として駒に残れてよかったじゃない。ま、もうあんたの扱いは駒じゃなくてピンなんだけどね。
黄金の魔女ベアトリーチェなんてもう出番はないのよ。あんたとその家具たちは私のゲームではほんのちょい役やられ役。
Jeez.
気持ちよ
飛ばされて私とベルのおもちゃにされなさいよ。
嫌ならやめてって一言言ってみて。そしたらやめてあげるから。
嫌じゃないってあんたピン確定ね。
It truly is saying something. That in the game board, Beatrice and her furniture have become just pieces, you know? Just something expected, not mind-blowing or anything. And she's just, Meta Beatrice is unable to do nothing. It is sad in a way. It really, it's so interesting, this direction this game's taken on. Of like, our, you know, opponent isn't technically even here right now. It's already been, the role of villain has kind of like been taken over, you know, by someone else, by Grandma Delta, I guess, and Burn Castle, and hell, even Erica. The role of villain, you could say, main antagonist, maybe. And just feels so, you know, unfair. You know, this is supposed to be her in battle, damn it. There's no need for a golden witch anymore. All that's needed is a sacrificial doll, so the two witches can enjoy some time playing. Die, disappear. Confess to your filthy past and your crimes. Speak out your sob story of regret and repent as you throw yourself off a cliff and die. The Golden Witch will never again have her turn. This will probably turn out to be a nasty game. On the surface, it looks very similar to the usual tales. However, there's no respect given to the true main character of the story. This tale was supposed to be the one that the Golden Witch Beatrice invited Ushio Battler to see. However, the host has been lost, and there are no longer any guests. This music is awesome. The one who did the inviting and the one who was invited are no longer around in this horrible tale. Welcome to the 5th game, End of the Golden Witch. Welcome to a party with neither host nor guests, hijacked by wicked witches.
いいバトラー。いよいよ2日目を始めるわよ。私はベアトみたいにドロい展開は嫌いなんだから。
Man, shut up.
好きにしやがれ。お前が何をかき回そうと、俺は必ずこのゲームの真相にたどり着いてやる。
Damn right.
そうでなくては困ります。妹さんのためにもしっかり戦わなくちゃ。ご安心を。ラムダデルタ教はベアトリーチェのマヌケと違い、私がしっかりサポートするので問題ありません。
Man, shut up.
私と一緒に今度こそ魔女幻想を暴いてやろうではありませんか。
お前なんか知らない。
You have nothing to do with this, damn it.
ベアとのゲームにいなかった存在など俺は認めもしないし必要ともしない。
強がり言ってる場合ですか。まあお互いせいぜい頑張りましょう。一緒に魔女幻想とやらを引き裂いてやりましょう。
Erica offered me her hand to shake. Instead of just passively ignoring this, they gave her a proactive and clear answer by knocking her hand aside.
握手は嫌いだそうよ。
私はエンジェよりはるかに役立つ駒ですので、バトラさんの闘志を回復する以外何もできなかったひき肉とはわけが違います。
You shut the fuck up.
頼もしそうな仲間に恵まれて嬉しいわね。かつてはワルギリアに炉の上、エンジまで来てくれたわ。そしてとうとうベルにエリカまで。あんたを応援してくれる駒たちはこんなにもたくさん。それでも未だに真相の尻尾すらつかめない無能っぷりってどんな気持ち？どんな気持ち？
Shut. Fuck you. Fuck you.
関係ねえな。これは俺とベアとの戦いだ。その他の誰であろうと関係ねえ。
ああ、そうなの。やっと独り立ち。いっつも誰かに助けられ情けをかけられてばかりのあんたがどこまで一人でできるやら。
Hey, I've made my own fucking Furies on my own. Damn it. Fuck you.
楽しませてもらうわ。
取り戻すぜ。これは俺たちのゲームだ。お前たちお呼びじゃねえ。
Fuck yeah.
そうよね。これはあなたたちのゲームだわ。なら取り戻してごらんなさいよ。手加減だらけだったベアとのゲームさえ勝てなかったあんたが誰の助けもなく一切の容赦のないラムダのゲームをどこまで戦えるのか。
ではお目覚めなさい、後ろ宮バトラー。ようこそ10月5日の朝へ。
Let's fucking do this. Oh my god. Ah, so pumped up. I love it. God. I hate these fucking witches. Which means it went great. The second day, October 5th, 1986. And ladies and gentlemen, I think this is a perfect stopping point here. As the game finally begins, as this fake game begins, led by someone that isn't our opponent, who barged in of her own free will in order to have fun. God, this game's fucking good, man. This game's so good in every aspect, dude. Every fucking aspect of it is so fucking great. I love it. I love it. I love it. I fucking love it. Oh my god. So, yeah, if you guys enjoyed this type of content, hit that subscribe button. If you liked it, hit the like button. When Thomas doing, put that comment as well. Check out Discord server we're hanging out in, or my Twitter, check the description below. And yeah, it's been Voidlego. I'll see you guys next time. See ya!